Hey, is this seat available? Awesome. Hey, I'm Clara. What's your name? Hamilton Beach. Oh, wow. Are you related to Virginia Beach? Oh, right. That's a place, not a person. Well, anyway, what brings you to Cincinnati? Oh, you just moved here. Well, if you would ever love to hear about Cincinnati from a Cincinnatian, let me know. You would? Awesome. Well, let's go grab a cup of coffee. So anyone who knows me knows I love coffee. And when my sister unfortunately broke my coffee maker, I decided, you know what, instead of buying the exact same coffee maker, which I've always loved, I am going to venture out and try something new and see, can I fall in love with a new coffee maker? Is there a better coffee maker out there for me? So I bought 6 different coffee makers, and at the end of this video, you'll see a video pop up where I do a whole review comparing all 6 of them all at the same time. But today I'm going to focus on this Hamilton Beach coffee maker, which I found that I really liked for a couple of reasons, but there were a few things I didn't really care for. So we'll see at the end if it's a winner, if I fell in love with it, or if I kicked it to the curb. So just to cover a few things that this coffee maker has that is pretty standard for most coffee makers. It's programmable, it has auto shut off, so you don't have to worry about turning it off, and that lasts for about 2 hours. So after you brew your coffee, the hot plate will be hot for 2 hours. And it has the pause and serve. So typically the pause and serve will still drip a little bit. None of them are perfect, but this one does pretty good with that. So, all right, so next I'm going to go over the pros and then cover the cons of this coffee maker. So first thing that I love about this coffee maker is it makes 14 cups of coffee. So as you can see on here, I know there's a little bit of a glare. This is a huge pot. So I love this for when I have people over. It's really nice, that extra little bit, because, you know, when you make a 12 cup pot of coffee, it doesn't actually serve 12 people because a cup of coffee for most coffee makers is about 5 ounces. Most mugs are 12 ounces. And so you always have to kind of divide in half. So if it's 12 cups, then you know it's going to serve 5 to 6 people. And so with 14 cups, it comfortably serves 7, which is really nice because most gatherings have, you know, more than just a couple people. So I love the capacity of this coffee pot. I would say, like, on a daily use, it might seem rather big to have around because I'm the only coffee drinker in the house. My husband and obviously my kids do not drink coffee. So I'm the only one that drinks it. And so to make 4 cups in here seems kind of small, but it does have a lot of brewing options, and one of them is a small batch, which is really nice. So the second thing that I really like about this coffee maker is just that it looks nice. Like, it looks nice sitting on my countertop. I don't have a whole lot of appliances because I try to keep my countertops really clear. I have a very tiny kitchen, and so I preserve any countertop space that I have. But it's compact as far as it's not super wide, and I just like the way it looks. Like, I think it looks really nice. And it doesn't take up a huge amount of room. And the third thing that I really like about this coffee maker is I really like the taste. My sister, the one who broke my coffee pot to begin with, came over, and I had been testing out these 6 different coffee pots. And so what we did is we brewed all 6 at the same time, did a blind taste testing where, you know, underneath each coffee cup, under all 6 of them, labeled each coffee maker. And then she poured all the coffee without me seeing what she was pouring, and then I tasted it, and then I did the same for her. And the Hamilton Beach one was one that we both rated pretty high as far as the taste goes. It consistently makes a good pot of coffee, and doing the blind taste testing, it ranked pretty high for both of us. So that is obviously a huge factor when picking out a coffee maker, is you want something that brews good coffee. And one of the reasons why it does brew good coffee is it has a cone-shaped filter. So you have to put a filter in. This is not a reusable one, but the cone shape really helps with making sure that the water evenly covers the grounds and that it all goes down and drips into your coffee pot. And so there's been, you know, you can read a lot of pros and cons about, you know, just the basket coffee filters or the cone ones. Cone ones typically do better with brewing drip coffee. So this is definitely a huge plus and probably a big reason why the coffee does taste really good. So let's move on to the cons. Now, one of the interesting things about this coffee maker is it has a front fill. You can also open up the back. Here, come a little closer and I'll show you. Okay, so take a closer look in here. So you can pour your coffee or your water in the back, or you have the option of pouring it in the front. Why that's really cool is most of the time, if you have cabinets that are above your countertop, then you have to pull your coffee pot out to pour it in the back. And sometimes, you know, that's just kind of inconvenient sometimes. And so what's really cool about this is that you can pour it in the front and you don't have to pull your coffee maker out. You know, you just pour it in the front and hit brew. Now, the reason why I list this as a con is it is really cool, but it takes forever to fill up because it's such a small opening. Oh, there's some coffee ground in there. Because there's such a small opening, what seems like a great idea, if you're brewing 14 cups of coffee, pouring all that water in the front, it just takes so long. So if on a daily basis, you are making, like me, 1 to 4 cups of coffee, not a big deal. Like, that's not that much water to pour down the front. So it works really well. And I have low cabinets that are my top cabinets. And so with my old coffee maker, I had to constantly pull it out, pour it in, push it back in. And so it is nice with this one. I only have to just pour it in and I don't have to move the coffee maker or adjust it or anything. And so it can be a positive, but if you are making a whole pot of coffee because multiple people in your house all drink coffee, this is not a benefit. It is most definitely a con because it will take you 3 times as long, if not longer, to pour all that water in the front. So I was super excited about that feature until I realized how long I'd be standing there pouring my water in. The second thing that is a con is while I love the capacity of this, it is giant and it's the handle is not, there's something really uncomfortable and clumsy about, like very cumbersome about the handle. And I think it's because this top part is small and then this bottom part is larger. And so when you're holding it, it just causes your hand to tip forward. And if you're not ready for that, you end up spilling coffee. So for some reason, this longer part on the bottom, it just totally like knocks you off balance. I don't know if they were thinking you'd have a little more something to put your palm against. I don't know, but it does not work. That's all I have to say. I do not like this handle design. And so that is a negative, as well as this is a very small opening. I don't know, here, hopefully you can see that a little better. So if you're filling this up, so I use filtered water for my coffee. If you're filling this up using your, like the water that comes out of your fridge, like I do, just stick it under and fill it up. Well, with this small of an opening, good luck. Like you have to open it in order for it to come in, and you have to make sure it gets past this little bar right here, or it'll splash water everywhere. So I'm not a big fan of the top design of this whole lid design. It's just too small, especially when the carafe is super full and you're pouring those first couple cups of coffee. Like it's a very small spout. I have no idea why they would design it so small. So when you go to pour out those first cups, it's just, there's so much liquid in there that it makes me nervous that like this part's gonna pop open and then with the handle. And so there's something about this carafe I just do not like. I don't like it. So while I love the capacity of it and I love that I can make a lot of coffee, the carafe for me, it just is such a negative. So yeah, I just don't like, there's just a lot of design features that I'm just not in love with this. So those are my pros and cons. And now we're going to brew a cup of, actually 14 cups of coffee. We're going to brew a pot of coffee so you can see how that all works, because it's a little different. I'm sure you noticed that I pulled this open. This is a really interesting design, and very different. So it definitely, if you have cabinets that are low and you're annoyed with constantly pulling your coffee pot in and out, out and then pushing it back in like I typically have to do, there are some cool, this is designed to make that a little bit easier. So, all right, so let's get brewing. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is pour the water in, and you'll just see right here how long it takes. It takes forever. Let's fast forward this part. So like I said, it just takes so long. So something to consider. Now, the next part is the coffee. So here's the basket, and then you're going to use a cone-shaped filter for in here. And we are going to do, I have a coffee scoop here. And we are going to do 1 scoop of this per cup of coffee. Okay, and then you just snap that shut. Now, if you're just doing just the regular cup of coffee, pot of coffee, then you can just hit brew now. You also have the opportunity to change the water temperature. And so you see the little thermometer there. You can make it hotter or colder, depending on how you want your coffee brewed. So we're gonna go ahead and click brew now, and let's get brewing. While the coffee's brewing, give this video a thumbs up. Okay, so this coffee pot took about 13.5 minutes to brew 14 cups of coffee, which is pretty good to be slightly under a minute per cup. That's actually pretty good. There's other coffee makers I've tried that took forever to brew 12 cups of coffee. Some took longer to brew 12 cups than this one did to brew 14 cups. So brew time is pretty good. And then also the other thing that I always think about is how loud it is. I'm a mom of 2 little boys, and the last thing I want is for my coffee maker to wake my kids up from their nap. That is not a fun experience. So this one I would rate pretty good. On a scale of 1 to 5, I would rate it a 4. It's not too loud. It gets a little loud at the end, as most coffee makers do. But it overall, through the whole brewing process, is a pretty quiet coffee maker. So let's do the taste test. This one has always consistently been, see, it's such a heavy carafe. Like, it's really heavy. And then it doesn't spill when you're pouring it, but you feel like you're like on the edge, like it's about to spill. So this one has always been pretty consistently a good flavor. Yeah, I would say this one is maybe slightly on the bitter side with how it brews, but it has very good flavor, which I really like. I typically drink my coffee with creamer, but for taste testings, I always like tasting it black, just because it's amazing the difference. Like I've used coffee makers where I use creamer all the time, no big deal, it tasted great, and then I tasted it black and I was like, so creamers can really cover a lot of sins, which I mean is a good thing. But if you or anyone else who will be using this coffee pot like their coffee black, this has a really good flavor. And then the other thing that I wanted to mention is it does have the auto off, where you can just click it off if you want to turn the plate off. Because I know some people don't like to have the plate on the whole time, because some coffee pots, your coffee can start to taste a little different with it constantly being warmed over the course of 2 hours. So I don't know. Do I love this one, or do I want to kick him to the curb? I'm going to say this one's a winner. I love that it's quiet. I love that it brews pretty quickly. I love the look of it. I'm not the biggest fan of some of the features as far as, like, you know, the front part for pouring, but I always have the option of opening the back, so to pour that water in very quickly. And then I do love that the filter is a cone shape. I think that is part of what makes the flavor come through really well on this coffee maker. So I'm gonna say this is a winner. I'm slowly over time falling in love with this coffee maker. So I hope this review was helpful. You should see another video pop up that is about cleaning this coffee maker according to the manual. I do a quick video on that, as well as including some tips that I have discovered over the years with cleaning coffee makers. And then you should see another video pop up where it's going to show you that review where I compare all 6 coffee makers. So I do pick a winner. I pick a winner of what I love, and then I pick a coffee maker, which is the worst that nobody should ever buy. There was one that did get that award. And then I cover a lot of other factors, you know, which one's the most environmentally friendly, which one makes the best coffee, which one's the quietest. Like, I rate them all in those individual ways as well. So check out those videos, and I think I'm going to enjoy this cup of coffee while my kids are still taking their nap. And so until we meet again, have an awesome day.